somewhere near us. It doesn't need to be right at the top of your mat. It can be if you would like, but as long as it's near you, we can always move to adjust and get to the prop in that way. So just know where it's at. And then find your child's pose. And in your child's pose, take a moment to settle in. Find some nice deep breaths here where we can maybe notice the rib cage expanding, front to back, side to side, top to bottom. We can take a moment to just become aware of our surroundings, maybe any noises, any smells, any sensations such as the room temperature, the feel of the mat beneath you. And then we can turn that awareness inward, potentially closing the eyes if we haven't yet. Maybe you notice any internal sensation. Maybe you feel the breath as it moves in and out of the body. On an inhale, begin to lift the elbows and come up onto the fingertips of the hands. Use your exhale to press into the fingertips, round to the back, lift the head off the mat. From this place, crawl the hands over off of the right edge, grip into the fingertips, soften the heart down. Take a couple of breaths, feeling the stretch through the left side body. Exhale, press into the fingertips, lift up again. From that rounded position, crawl the fingertips all the way over off of the left side of the mat. And again, soften the heart down. Feel the length through the right side. Exhale, press into the fingertips, round up. Crawl back through center, keeping those fingertips engaged with the mat, keeping the shoulders rounded. Take a moment here to maybe just wiggle. Find some organic movement. And then we're going to soften down on the inhale, but keep the elbows lifted, fingertips planted. Exhale, round up. Inhale, soften. Exhale, round up. Inhale, soften. Exhale, round up. Think of lifting even higher, rounding through the back, including the low back. Maybe lifting the hips up a bit, tucking the chin. Inhale, soften. Maybe even the chin comes to the mat instead of the forehead. Exhale, round. Inhale, soften. Exhale, round. Stay up here. Draw the hands under the shoulders. Inhale, finding tabletop position. Now from this tabletop, we'll take a couple rounds of cat-cow, just kind of continuing that movement that we've already started through the backside of the body. But after those couple of rounds, let's find something a little less familiar. So feel the belly hang low, feel the ribs hang low. Typically not what we do when we're here. And then think of kind of rocking side to side. And the next time you rock to the left, come up and back and over with the rib, and then back down, up and back and over with the ribs, and then back down. So we're doing this kind of washing machine style movement here. And then stop and then go the other direction. It might help to start from, again, that kind of low belly, low ribs position. Or maybe you are able to just reverse the circles directly and pause at the top. Wiggle the hips out, left to right. Slowly let the shoulders soften through. Keep wiggling through the hips. Okay, from here, we're going to use our chair, our prop. Now, if you can, we're just gonna bring the elbows and forearms to the chair. Now, this can be, on any surface as long as it's high enough, including blocks. So remember that if you're on blocks, you might not have quite as much motion, but if not, that's still okay. So again, grip into the fingertips. Check that the knees are more or less beneath the hips. They might be a little forward of the hips. As you grip into the fingertips, think of inhaling to kind of lift the chin. And then exhale, we're going to start to soften down. Let the shoulders kind of grow heavy, the torso grow heavy. Keep gripping into the fingertips. We're going to start adding some pulsations here, okay? So on the exhale, we press into the fingertips so much so that the forearms and elbows lift. And then inhale, soften. And maybe you notice you're even a little bit lower already. Exhale, press into the fingertips, round through the back, lift. Inhale, soften. Let the head hang heavy. Exhale, press, lift, feel everything engage. Inhale, let the forearms come back, soften. Exhale, press, engage. Inhale, soften. So find your own pace here, just balancing out that really active work of gripping into the fingertips, rounding through the back, and then softening through on the inhale, letting the head hang heavy. And if it gets to a point like where your head is touching the mat, you can slide the arms a little bit further up, get the elbows more firmly onto your surface if they were kind of hanging off, and then work through it there. Let's do 2 more cycles. And on your last one, go ahead and let yourself hang heavy for a moment. Maybe you shake the head out. If your elbows are on the surface, it can sometimes feel nice to bend the elbows, bringing palms together toward the nape of the neck. One more breath here. Gently release out of this. Keep those engagements as you ease back up. And then we don't need the chair again. So you can move it out of your way, just set it somewhere where it won't be on your mat and in the way. And let's take a moment to be seated. Circle out the shoulders, maybe find any organic movement here. If you notice a sticky spot, maybe you hang out there for a moment. And then we'll all reach the arms up. Exhale, lower the right fingertips, bend that elbow as you reach over the left ear with the left arm. Inhale, come back up through center. Exhale, lower left fingertips, bend that elbow, reach right. Inhale through center. Exhale, spin to the right, left hand outside of right knee, right fingertips on the mat, or maybe coming to the low back. Keep the shoulders round toward each other. And be soft with the twist. So think about maybe what would your furthest twist be, and then back up about 10%, maybe even 20%. You want to find a place that's kind of comfortable, but still feels nourishing, still feels productive. On an inhale, let's sweep the arms all the way back up. And exhale, twist to the left. Same thing, find your max and then back off of it a little bit. Think of sitting tall, reaching through the crown of the head, while also drawing shoulders toward each other. Inhale, arms up. And exhale. Plant the hands, curl the toes under. We're gonna do a couple rounds of movement here. We'll start by just pressing into the hands, gripping, especially thinking of that pinching motion between index and thumb, finding that nice engagement, and then lift the knees up. Take a couple of breaths here, feel the strength of the shape. On an inhale, lift all the way up and back, finding your downward facing dog. And here we'll prepare for some vinyasa. One more full cycle of breath. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step it to the outer edge of the right foot, lower the left knee, inhale. Exhale, left foot, outer left hand, active squat, inhale. Stay here for a moment. Inhale, drive through the feet, rise, reach the hands up. And exhale, hands come back through heart center as we go through active squat. Take an inhale here, and on your exhale, soften forward, plant the hands, step the left foot back, lower that knee. And exhale, right foot back, plank pose. Take a moment here. Find the shape. Engage through the hands. Reach out of the heels. And then lower the knees, rock shoulders past wrists. Bend those elbows in halfway down. And then inhale, ground the pelvis, lift the heart through. Exhale, rock back and up, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step it to the outer left hand, lower that right knee, inhale. Exhale, right foot forward, active squat, inhale. Exhale here. Inhale, rise. And exhale, back down, active squat, maybe with hands at heart center. Take a breath. And release. Fingers to the mat, right foot steps back. Lower that knee, inhale. Exhale, left foot back, plank pose. Take a breath. Lower knees, slide the hands slightly backward. Lower chest and chin down, feeling this compressed, almost puppy-esque shape. On the inhale, pull the heart through, grounding the pelvis, lifting through the heart. And exhale, draw the hips up and back, curl the toes under, downward facing dog. All right, take a couple breaths. We're gonna do all that again. Inhale, right leg up. This time bend the knee, open the hip, draw heel toward sit bone. Really lift through that knee. On the exhale, straighten the leg out. And then draw that foot forward, outer right hand, lower the left knee. Left foot steps forward, active squat. Find the shape for a breath. And then inhale, rise all the way up. Hands come together. Maybe we even do a little lift through the heart. And then exhale, find active squat once more. Stay here for a breath. And release. Hands to the mat. Left foot steps back, lower that knee. Exhale here, staying in the shape. Inhale, open the right arm up, reaching back, finding a little bit of a twist. And then exhale, right hand plants, right foot steps back, plank pose. Option to find a modified plank, lowering the knees. Or option to move through a full chaturanga. Either way, we're gonna do a slow lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull through, finding your back bend. And then potentially lowering the knees or not to get up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale, left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Squeeze heel in while reaching that knee up. Straighten out the leg and then step it forward. Lower the right knee, inhale. Exhale, right foot forward, active squat. Stay here for a breath. Inhale, rise up. Maybe finding a little bit of a back bend in our Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, active squat. On your next exhale, release it down. Hands to the mat, right foot steps back. Lower the knee, inhale, staying here. Exhale, staying here. And on your next inhale, we'll open up this left arm, reach back. Finding a little bit of a twist. So pressing down through that left foot. And then bring it all back down. Step the left foot back. Find your plank. Knees lowered or lifted. Rock the shoulders past the wrist for a slow lower of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, pull it through. Use your method to get up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let's lower the elbows down, whether you do it one at a time or both at once. Once the elbows are lowered, maybe curl the feet in just a little bit. Keep pressing down through the hands, forearms, and elbows. Feel the space that creates in the shoulders. And find your dolphin pose here. Let's all lower the knees. Looking forward, untuck the toes. As we rock forward from this kneeling shape, we're gonna rock the torso forward, peel the elbows up, ground the pelvis, and inhale, finding cobra. Or maybe even adding a press into the feet, finding an upward dog. Up to you. As you feel ready, think of tucking the tail. Really draw the navel in to tuck the tail, lift the hips a bit, ground the elbows, curl the toes under, lift the knees, dolphin. All right, so we're moving in and out in the same exact way. So while we're here, press into the mat with hands, forearms, and elbows. Tilt that tailbone up, and then lower the heels, finding true dolphin here. However it might look, however it might feel for you. Making any adjustments to create a little more ease or comfort. And then lower the knees. Look forward, untuck the toes on the inhale. Pull through. Ground the pelvis, cobra or up dog. Go ahead, lift through the hips, plant the elbows, curl the toes. Dolphin. All right, just one more of those. Let's take a couple of breaths here. It's a very strong shape, so if your shoulders are feeling tired, that's totally normal. Lower the knees. Look through. An inhale takes you forward. Find your back bend. And then reverse out of it with intention. Grounding the elbows, curling the toes, finding dolphin. And then from here, we're all gonna lower to the knees. Draw the hands back to the thighs as you find a seat. Take a moment, circle through those shoulders. We have a lot of shoulder work we've already done. So just feel it out. Maybe shake it out, shaking the arms, the wrists, the torso, the whole body. Take a breath. And on an inhale, the arms sweep up. And exhale, rock it forward, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Maybe we even tap those toes down, reaching up with the hips, reaching back with the arm. Think of creating as much length as you can between those right fingertips and the left toes. Lift through the hips, reach out of the heart. And then draw the outer left foot back down to the mat. Look down toward the left hand, right arm still overhead. Draw the right foot up and step it forward. On an inhale, reach both arms forward, power lunge. Square the hips down, reach long out of the heart. Exhale, hands through heart center. Step the left foot forward, active squat. Nice, rotate, fingers pointing over the right toes. Swing the left leg back, warrior three. Feel the outer left hip anchored down. Reach long from the crown of the head out of that heel. And then we're all going to bend into the right leg. As we cactus out the arms, bend through the left leg. Squeeze that heel in. Outer hips hug in. Lift through the heart. Urdhva. Oh my gosh. What is our upward bird pose? I'm forgetting it. It's an upward bird. Just trust me. Okay, lower the back left toes. Bring the left hand down inside of the right foot and then pivot on the feet so that both sets of toes point toward the long edge of the mat. Reach the right arm up. Exhale, lower the hips, right hand reaches back. Inhale, reach up and over, maybe reaching those hips a little higher. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up, thread the right arm under the left armpit. Find a wide-legged forward fold. Let the head be heavy. Let the shoulders soften here. It might feel good to grab opposite elbows. It might feel good to interlace fingers behind the back and let the arms kind of hang heavily. One more breath here. Gently begin to release out of whatever shape you are in. Pivot back on the toes to face the front edge of the mat. From here, we're going to slide the right foot back a little bit. Plant the hands ahead of the right foot. Inhale the left leg up, standing splits. So keep the toes and the knee anchored down. We can really reach up as much as we can, feeling length in the back side of the right leg. Thinking of drawing the torso closer to that standing leg. And then soften into that leg. Plant the hands about a foot ahead and shoulder distance apart. Grip into the hands. Rock forward until you can feel weight in your fingertips. And you can feel as your hips lift, kind of that awareness of the shoulders on the back side of the body. All right, you might stay here and kind of play with finding that sensation. If you want to do some hop switches, we're going to rock forward, keep the left leg lifted, bend into the right on an inhale, exhale, hop and switch legs in the air. Now right leg is lifted, inhale, bend, exhale, hop. Keep thinking of leaning into the shoulders on the back side of your body. Maybe you'll find some lightness. We ultimately want to end with the left foot planted. Lower the right toes behind us. Bend into that knee, left hand to left knee, right arm moves up. And then exhale, soften into your Anjaneyasana. Take a moment here. Uparaga Hamsasana. That's what it was, by the way. I said Urdhva and I threw myself off. Urdhva means upright. Uparaga means soaring. That was our soaring bird. All right, options here. Option one is going to be stay here. Option two, maybe we cactus out the arms. Elbows can stay wide, or elbows can come into the ribs as we lift through the heart. Option three, interlace the hands, press the torso away from the thigh, thinking navel goes as far from the thigh as it can. And if your shoulders are feeling somewhat open, you want to try a different sort of bind, we're going to rock to the top of the right kneecap and bend that foot in and reach behind us, grabbing either side of the ankle. Flexing the toes over the hands. We're then going to start playing with some opposing forces. So my leg is pulling me down, but my heart is pulling me forward. And I keep teeter-tottering, kind of. Finding some slow movement here. until maybe I trust myself to tip back onto my right toes. Now, if you're like, what? I don't trust myself that much yet. That's okay. You can always find it with the leg planted, right? We can reach back with the right hand. It's kind of like coming into camel pose. We're a little twisted here. So once we reach back, we re-square up, and then maybe the left hand joins, and then we bend into the left leg. And then we can come out by bringing left hand to left thigh, right arm up. And all of us can exhale. Plant the hands, step the left foot back. Lower the knees. Send the hips back, child's pose for just a moment. And take a moment here to notice, does it feel better to find the stillness? Or would it feel better to have a vinyasa? And if your body wants some energy, wants some movement, then peel yourself back up, finding your forearms again. And then inhale to pull through. Upward dog or cobra. Lower back down and find your way back to child's pose. So a kind of modified vinyasa on the solstice and during really any time we're practicing a copious amount of vinyasas. I'll often take a modified variation like that. That's a little bit easier on the joints. All right, one more breath here. We're gonna inhale, lift back up to hands and knees. Since our shoulders have been getting so much warmth and opening, we're going to go into a pretty deep expression of a puppy pose. So crawling the hands forward, it's very similar to what we did on the chair to start. We can lower any part of the arms. We can lower any part of the head. That might mean the forehead. If we lower the forehead and we feel like, that kind of like took away some of the depth for me, then we might try to keep the head lifted and look forward. And maybe we eventually lower the chest or the chin. That can make it feel a little bit deeper. All right, now option one is to stay right here, wherever you are. Option two is going to be to lift the knees. Now it might be helpful to watch as I cue this if you're not familiar with extended puppy. If you're familiar, go ahead and move into it at your leisure. What we'll ultimately do is whenever we find our deepest expression, we'll curl the toes under. And with the toes curled under, I'm going to start thinking of kind of engaging through my core a little bit to support my low back. And then I'm going to lift the knees. And my feet always slide back a little bit here. That's totally normal. And if you get into it and you're like me and you're like, okay, my knee slid a little bit too far back, that wasn't feeling like it was really deepening the shape that much, you can always reset up. Crawl the knees in closer, curl the toes under again. And then again, lift the knees. If you're lifted, go ahead and lower. All of us will press into the hands, crawl them back in toward the body, and then find your way back to a child's pose with an option for movement. If that felt really deep for you, keep some movement here. It's like some adjustment. You can always kind of find some rocks forward and back. We can do that washing machine movement again. And let the head shake out, yes or no. And as you feel ready, we're going to meet in a downward facing dog. On an inhale, the left leg lifts up, bend, then you open the hip. Maybe you're thinking, holy crap, it's been a while since we've been here. That's what I'm thinking right now. All right, so if you're with me, let's rock forward. Lower the left toes behind you, lift up, wild thing. Kamat Karasana. Think of finding length between left fingertips and out the right foot. Lift through the hips. Draw the shoulder blades together on the back, feel the glutes engage, reach out through the heart. Finding more roundness. And then root down through the outer edge of the right foot. Look down toward the hand. Left arm reaches forward. Left toes lift, side plank. Step the left foot forward. Square up to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift both arms up, power lunge. Exhale, hands come to heart center as we step the right foot forward, active squat. Pivot to face the same direction as the left toes. Root down into that foot, sweep the right leg back and up. Anchor that hip down. Those toes down. Find broadness through the front side of the body. And then from here, cactus out the arms, bend into the left knee, reach right heel towards sit bone, lift the heart. Uparaga Hamsasana. Outer hips hug in, right knee lifts, heel squeezes in. Lower the right toes behind you. Plant the right hand inside of the left foot. Inhale, left arm up as both sets of toes point toward the long edge of the mat. And lower the hips, left arm reaches back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift, reach those hips really high up. And exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right. Crawl to the long edge of the mat, forward fold. Your second wide-legged forward fold today. Again, what do you need here? Do you want to be passive? Do you want to be active? Do you want to pull the torso down? Do you want to shake the head out? One more breath here. On the inhale, crawl the hands forward, lengthen the spine, look forward, and then rotate to the front edge of the mat. As we kind of frame out this left foot, slide it back a foot or so. And then from here, press into that foot, lift the right leg up to find a standing splits. Keep the right toes, knee, and hip pointed down toward the mat as you find the shape. Try to straighten through the left leg as much as possible. Again, only going so far as feels productive, but not compromising in the body. Think of the torso melting toward the left leg. Again, option to kind of experiment with this next step where we plant the hands, rock into the hands, walk into the fingertips, maybe lift the left heel as the right leg still reaches up. All right, find the sensation of the shoulders on the back side of the body. Maybe you begin to hop and switch the legs in the air. Exhale for the hop. We ultimately want right foot planted. Lower the left toes. Lower the left knee, right hand, right knee. Inhale, left arm up. Anjaneyasana. Take a moment to settle in here. Scan through the body, notice what you need. Maybe you take both arms up. Maybe you cactus, elbows wide or brought in. Maybe you bring the hands to the back ankle. Maybe you press into the thigh with the hands, the right thigh, and find space between the torso and that leg. If you bound the back foot, remember it's that slow movement. There's a lot of forces at play. We can always press more into the right foot. We can always trust ourselves eventually to tip back onto those left toes. We can always get into it from upright too. Keeping the left foot down, reaching back with the left hand, re-squaring through the body, maybe straightening the right leg a little bit to give some room and then rebending. That way it actually feels harder in my body. All right, inhale to ease your way up and out wherever you are. Plant the hands, step the right foot back. Take a vinyasa, skip a vinyasa, modify a vinyasa. We'll all meet in a seat at the back edge of the mat. Big toes together, knees wide, hips setting atop the heels. We've done both sides of the body through that set. We have another set still, but it's a little bit shorter. And it's a little bit sweeter. A little less strength, a little more softness, I would say. Not that those are necessarily opposing things. But we won't necessarily find our heart rate is elevated. We won't find those like big dynamic movements as much. So scan through the body as it is right now. And if it feels okay to introduce some specific breath work, we're going to do Navi Shodena, alternate nostril breathing, a very balancing breath. We'll start by bringing thumb against index fingernail of the left hand. Let that rest palm face up on the left knee or thigh. And then bring the right hand just in front of your face. We'll bring pointer and middle fingers to that space between the eyebrows. And then we'll have ring finger on the outer left nostril and thumb on the outer right. And they don't necessarily need to be touching all the time. I like to kind of give mine space unless I'm using them. But we can start by inhaling fully. Exhale fully. And then inhale fully. Block the right nostril, exhale left. Inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Inhale right. Block right, exhale left. Inhale left. Block left, exhale right. Inhale right. Continue with this breath, switching nostrils on the exhale. Find a depth and cadence that works for you. The next time that you exhale and inhale through the right, release everything. Exhale through the mouth, let it go. Take a moment to scan through the body, noticing what sensation exists. And as we're ready, we can blink the eyes open. Come up onto the knees. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale, bring those hands down to the mat. Find your way to a tabletop. Straighten out the right leg. Press out of the heel, allowing the toes to stay grounded. And then bend into that knee and do the same thing with the left. Once we're back in a tabletop position, we can inhale, bending the right knee and opening it up out to the right. And lower. And lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Last one, lift. Draw that knee toward the right armpit and step it outside the right leg. Or sorry, right hand. Swing the left shin parallel to the skinny edge of the mat and keep the right hand planted. Inhale this left arm up. Draw sit bones toward each other as you bend into that right knee. Finding a little bit deeper variation maybe of the side angle pose. Exhale, we're gonna lower the left hand down. Pivot that back leg back into line. And then bring the hands in front of the right foot so that it can heel toe across the body, finding a pigeon. All right, now we're not here long. So set up in your pigeon. It can be the active pigeon with the back knee lifted, or the back knee can be lowered and it can be a more restorative pigeon. Just a couple more breaths here. Finding some release through the shape. As you inhale, we'll draw the hands in. Liberate this right leg, come back into your tabletop. Same little mini set on the left side. So lift the left knee out to the left, fire hydrant style, and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Last one. Lift, draw that knee toward the left armpit, and step the foot down outside of that hand. Swing the right shin parallel to the skinny edges. Keep the left hand planted. Inhale the right arm up. Think tricep to knee to tricep, sit bones toward each other, and then sink into the left leg. Couple more breaths here. Exhale to lower the right hand down, swing the right leg back into the line. And this time we'll heel toe the left foot across the mat. Setting up for pigeon. Again, taking whatever variation you took on the other side. Just a couple more breaths. Inhale, lift the torso up, plant the hands, come back into tabletop. To close out tonight, we are going to take a hold, a long hold in headstand. So that might mean going near a wall. It might mean setting yourself up with some props. Take a moment to get yourself ready in whatever way. It can be any sort of headstand. So I'm going to cue a bound headstand. But if you would rather work on tripod or a different like funky arm variation, please know you're welcome to. If you've been working on a press or a puppy press, now would be a great time to work on that as well. If you are following along with me, we'll interlace the fingers, bring the hands down to the mat, elbows directly beneath the shoulders. Bring the top of the head down to where we can feel the hands cupping the backside of the head. Curl the toes under, lift the knees, crawl those feet in. Now option here to tuck one knee in and really rock back into the backside of the body. Maybe we find a tuck handstand and stay there. Sorry, headstand. Option to crawl a leg wide, bend one knee and find a puppy press up and maybe keep the legs wide for some balance. Option to kick up. Option to find a pike press up if that is something that your body is interested in. Wherever you are, go ahead and find your headstand and try to find that place of ease. Knowing that there are going to be wobbles, how do we accommodate them in the body? How do we stack the joints on top of each other in a way that creates a little less work? Find your breath. We're here for 15 more seconds. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Controlled exit. Once the toes touch down, bring the head upright. Circle out the shoulders, create length on either side of the neck. From here, we're going to move into the counter pose for this, a shoulder stand. If you, and I forgot to mention this at the start of class, but if you have a blanket, that could be a fabulous prop for this. So I'm going to actually grab one. Feel free to take a moment to grab one. If you don't have a blanket, that's fine too. You could always use a towel or something, or you could not use anything. As we prepare to go into our shoulder stand, what we ultimately would want is for the edge of a prop, if you have one, to be right at the top of the shoulders. So the head is off of the prop. Shoulder blades are fully on the prop. Head is off of it. Okay, so kind of giving ourselves a little bit of a boost through the shoulders. What this is going to do is create more space, allowing for a little bit higher lift of the legs potentially. Now, if you have shoulder stand sorted out for yourself, go ahead and find it and feel free to ignore me. If it's something that's a little bit new to you, what we're gonna do is bring the feet in and bring the hands beneath you. Now they can come to the low back. Sometimes people like to tuck their elbows under and start in kind of a supported bridge. Or the hands can go palm face down. We can even interlace the fingers. This is all going to be an exploration for you, so feel free to try a few different things. With the hips lifted, notice if you rock back onto the shoulders, are they falling off of your prop? If so, scoot down a little bit more. We want the tops of the shoulders to stay on the prop. Now, if it feels okay, what we're gonna do is lower the hips, set up for actually kicking back, which involves some rocking. All right, so some people like to do this one leg at a time. Some people like to do it two. Again, explore for yourself. I'm gonna bring both my knees in and my hands are planted on my sides. And as I rock back, I'm pressing into my hands. My knees are very bent so that I'm not having to worry about holding them very much. And then I'm gonna work my shoulder blades a little bit under me by rocking side to side. Once I feel like I have them under me, I'm gonna interlace my fingers and draw them down toward the mat, knees toward my forehead. And I want you to see if you can feel through the backside of your body, kind of what shape you're in right now. It might feel good to stay here. Maybe you work on straightening out the legs, finding a plow pose. And again, if the toes touch especially, you can work on rocking further, pressing those hips just a little bit more on top of the shoulders. And then option from here to bring the hands to the low back or even the mid back. When I'm on a prop, it's more like my mid back. And then we're gonna straighten out one leg and really reach it, like reach it far enough forward that if your toes are pointed, you don't really see your toes. And then
reach up your second leg. And the hands crawl further up the back, the more straight the legs get. Let the legs zip together. Think of tucking the tail a little bit. And then as you crawl the hands further up the legs, kind of press back a little, right? To get stacked on top. We ultimately can think of ankles over knees, over hips, over shoulders. That straight line is really hard to reach. So don't worry if it's not quite straight. There might be more of a hinge at the hips, or there might be more of a curve in the back. That's fine. Keep the back of the head pressed down into the mat. Try to find some space between the chest and the chin if at all possible. Now, wherever you are, bend the knees again if they're not. Draw them back down toward the forehead. So we're finding that safe tuck. The hands can release down. Straighten out the legs any amount. Maybe finding a plow for just a moment. Same movement with the back of the head pressing into the mat. And then keep the thighs drawn in toward the chest as you begin to, with control, lower back onto the mat. And plant the feet.
All right, nice. Now, if you want your prop for Shavasana, feel free to keep it. If not, you can set that out of the way and come back onto the back. Maybe rock a little bit side to side, scan through the body, notice, is there anything else that your body seems to be wanting right now? And if your body's like, no girl, no boy, no person, I'm ready for Shavasana, then go ahead and allow that. All right, so we can find whatever shape that might be. That might be legs up a wall. It might mean bottoms of feet together, knees wide, or feet wide, knees knocked in toward each other. It can be extended long. It can even be in a seat, especially depending on what comes next in your day. Sometimes a seat helps us to keep the energy a little bit higher. But if you're headed into some restfulness, then staying low on the mat can feel really nice. Find some softness, some comfort, some ease, and whatever little adjustments you can make. And then turn awareness to the breath, allowing it to become heavy, come and go naturally. You can soften the shoulders, the hips, the jaw, the eyes. And if it feels interesting to do so, hold in your mind's eye this image of, this awareness of your whole being. What does it feel like to experience the wholeness, the fullness of who you are right here, right now, in this moment? See if you can step away from words and instead just feel. You notice the pulsing of life beneath your skin. On an inhale, we can begin to deepen the breath. Gently bringing ourselves out of that moment of peacefulness, stillness, of silence, and into maybe a more active mode. Maybe with the deepening of the breath come little wiggles, movements that eventually escalate into a seat. And in the seat, we can inhale the arms out and up, palms touching overhead. Exhale, thumbs composite the forehead. Pause at the mouth and come to rest at heart center. And while often we think of the mind as this place of intuition, we can also take a moment to consider the role that the heart space has in playing toward our intuitions, the role that the gut has. How are all of those things connected? How can we honor all of those spaces of ourselves as we move through the day? Namaste.